thanks so much for being here. My name is Kat. I make houseplant videos here on Good and Planty. If you just saw me to absolutely love this video, please consider liking it, commenting, subscribing, or following me on Instagram. All these things help me grow my channel like a plant. Today, I want to talk about one of the most fun parts of having houseplants, and that is plant styling. I am by literally no means an interior designer at all, but over time, I feel like I've kind of gathered a few ways to make houseplants make more sense in my space. These are just tips that I personally really enjoy implementing in my collection. We're gonna talk about placement, pots, stands, all that good stuff. So if that sounds interesting to you, then let's just get on into the video. But first, a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Louisa. Louisa is a huge friend of the channel, but if you don't know, they are a jewelry brand that crafts jewelry with our planet and your bank account in mind. They are climate neutral certified, listed as being 100% water and carbon neutral, while still offering pieces starting at just $39. I am wearing a few of their pieces today, some old, some new, so I wanted to show you some of the newer pieces I have on. First, I have this Michelle ring. It is gold plated with a really beautiful malachite piece in the center. I absolutely love this. It gets me excited because it's green, and obviously I am a big proponent of green jewelry and everything else green. I think it's a really beautiful and gentle way to add some color into my ring set. Then on my ears, I have the Toda earrings in green. I really love this pair because they are super lightweight, and I do get the double hoop look with just one piercing. Between how lightweight they are and also the material they're made from, I find it to be a super easy wear. And then on top of that, the little green nano gems are just adorable. And again, I'm trying to tie in with the whole green thing, so I'm a big fan of these earrings. And last but not least, the new piece that I'm wearing is actually not in frame. It is on my ankle. Louisa sells anklets, and I was very excited to get this gold dipped anklet. I just think it's a fun way to accessorize in a different way than I usually do. So huge thank you to Louisa for sponsoring today's video. If you want to check them out, the link will be down below in my description box. You can use code PLANTY10 for 10% off your order. They mix and match with my old pieces really well too, so I have a nice little collection going with a lot of versatility and flexibility, and I think you should check them out. So thank you to Louisa, and now let's get into plant styling. The first thing I want to talk about is using up wall space and really utilizing that blank space that you try to fill with pictures and everything. You can also use houseplants for that, and it is so much fun. I have a few plants that are kind of doing that, but if you're a fan of the channel, then you probably know I am referring to my micans. My micans is very useful in eating up blank wall space because not only is it on a 5-foot moss pole, which really takes up the corner, but I have since encouraged the excess vines to start growing alongside my wall. I do have them pinned up with trellis wall trellises. Those stick on with command strips, and then I kind of just hook the vines as they grow. However, I also have my Syngonium albo starting to grow up the wall, and for that, I'm just using little thumbtacks. They're clear. In a true pinch, I also use tape. I literally just tape the vines to the wall. You can't really see it, especially if it's up high. I really like doing this for two reasons. One, again, it's just a very easy way to decorate my wall with the houseplants I already have. And B, it's also really good for your plants. A lot of the plants that I'm encouraging to grow on walls have outgrown their moss poles. They have outgrown the moss poles because they love growing vertically. A lot of these epiphytic vining plants really progress once they are encouraged to grow up something. Allowing them to grow up onto my walls perpetuates that rapid growth without me needing to extend a moss pole or buy more materials or anything like that. So it's definitely a win-win for both you and your houseplant. Next, let's talk about a classic, and those are plant stands. And don't click off, I'm trying to make it fun. I know some of these are gonna be basic. Plant stands are truly one of the easiest ways to elevate quite literally your plant collection. I have a few go-to plant stands. Some are the more traditional kind, and then others are side tables that I've sort of repurposed into being plant stands. I have a lot, like 4 or 5 of those wooden, really easy, stackable, adjustable wooden plant stands from Amazon. I do believe those are linked in my Amazon storefront in my description box. I find those to be a fairly inexpensive and easy way to just bring my plants up off the ground and make it look like they're really placed there. These stands are nice because, like I said, they are adjustable in terms of their width, so they can be useful for whatever pot size you have. And then on top of that, they are so easy to install. You literally just pop the 2 pieces together, and then there's sometimes an extra little screw in the center, and you're done. It's so minimal. It goes with pretty much any look you're going for. I truly cannot get enough of them. I actually had to like cut myself off from getting these stands because they're so convenient. Then on top of that, I have 2 side tables that I kind of turned into plant stands. One is actually right behind me here. This, I believe, was also off of Amazon. And then outside, I actually put my massive Monstera on an IKEA side table. And I really, really like that one because the top tray comes off very easily. That makes it easy to just like pick up the Monstera if I need to. And I can also take it off and clean it once all of my Monstera dirt kind of gets stuck to it. Those are really simple ways to view plant stands. It doesn't have to be something that is labeled a plant stand. It can just be a pretty surface that you want to repurpose into one. But if you want a very simple, cheap, easy plant stand, I really recommend any variation of those little bamboo ones that I've talked about. Those are super popular, but God, they're just so good. Next, I want to talk about propagations because I actually think that they are very much overlooked as decorations and a thing that you can use to style, especially with the rise of propagation boxes and things like that. I did want to take a second to just talk about propagations. There are more obvious ways to use them. You can use like these cute little propagation vessels and systems that you can put on your wall. I have one. The most exciting thing that I think I've realized with propagations is that they are the perfect solution for extremely low light areas. For example, in my bathroom, there's no windows. It is absolutely not the place for a plant to be, but it felt extremely bare having absolutely no green in the room whatsoever, especially in a bathroom where I do want a little bit more of like a spa, relaxing, tranquil feeling. So my solution was fairly easy. I just wanted to test out putting a propagation in there. So I just took a little piece of my neon pothos, stuck it in a cute little vessel that I had saved, and then I put it in the corner of my counter. Lo and behold, the propagation has actually grown. It is doing well. I could repot that propagation back into my neon pothos and take a new cutting if I wanted to, if the cutting started to decline. But honestly, I think I'm just gonna keep the propagation there and maybe add a few more just to really fill out that space. I think it's a very harmless way to incorporate greens into a room or a corner that is otherwise quite deadly to plants, and you don't want to go through the whole process of setting up a grow light. Don't overlook the power of a propagation in a home setting. They can really add little sprinkles of jungle throughout your home without overwhelming you with a whole other plant. Next, I wanted to talk about pots, and I'm actually quite excited to talk about pots today because I think my relation, and this is gonna sound so dramatic, but my relationship with pots has evolved so much since when I first started my collection. I actually think I did a similar video to this towards the beginning of my channel, so like maybe 2 years ago or something like that. Back then, I said, pick like a color scheme or a texture or a material that you really like and try to have your pots be as cohesive as possible and match and be consistent, because then when you're styling a plant shelf, they're all gonna go together. Now I'm kind of over it and I really enjoy more of that eclectic, I don't know, like random looking pile of pots, being able to choose a color for a space, add more variety throughout my collection with the pot choice. I don't know. I think that there's room for both takes in styling with plants. Absolutely. Some people want a more, like I said, cohesive pot selection, whereas I am slowly breaking away from that, and I think that there is definitely more fun to be had with pots than I previously realized. I have quite the mix of types of pots in my collection. I definitely have a bulk of terracotta. I think that's a very easy way to start because they are usually quite cheap. I also have some pots that I've gotten from Amazon. Then I also always have to recommend shopping local with local ceramicists and pottery makers. I think that that's a really easy way to add some character into your collection. I have a few favorite locally made pots here in my home, and those just add a whole new element of joy to my collection, because not only is the pot making me happy, but the plant is making me happy, and when they go together and it looks good, it's just very, very satisfying. The last thing I'll mention is I have a few like DIY pots that I really enjoy. Some I've made, some my friends have made. You can decorate your own plants at home and it doesn't necessarily have to be tacky, and even if it is tacky, it's okay because it's something you made. And again, it just adds a little bit more character to your collection if that's something that you're looking for. I've definitely been on both ends of the pot spectrum, and I'm a little bit more satisfied, I think, with not being afraid of color and design and a little bit of variety. Next, I want to talk about spacing out your plants, and this is definitely not for everyone. Some people love the very maximalist urban jungle kind of look, and I have done that. I've done that for, again, quite some time, but I'm slowly learning that with the amount of plants that I have, which at this point is about 75, it is so much easier to keep track of my plants, take care of my plants, and appreciate my plants if I space out the clusters in my home a little bit. It is recommended to keep a few plants together just so that they can be in their own little humidity bubble of sorts. So my plants are not like 10 feet apart at all times. I definitely have little clusters of them. I am trying to move away from just shoving all of my plants in a shelf and really taking up all of the surface area in my home with houseplants. I know it works for some people, and that's completely fine if that's for you, but if you're someone whose plants have been stressing them out, you feel like you're missing things, you're just losing a little bit of that spark, I actually recommend isolating a few of your plants and seeing how that goes. I think it allows me to be more individually connected with each plant that I have, rather than just looking at a mass of them, getting overwhelmed, not seeing each plant for what it is. And that's helped me a lot personally in my plant styling / plant care journey. And I just wanted to share that because I've definitely learned a few things from making that change. Okay, and the last little tip, it's sort of like a bonus tip. Don't be afraid to invest in your plant accessories, because I know a lot of us really jump to obviously splurging on a plant, or maybe you'll take it one step further and you splurge on a really beautiful locally made pot. But I've found a lot of pleasure in having quality plant accessories that make sense for my collection. And by plant accessories, I mean like shears, watering cans, spray bottles, all of these little products that are gonna make plant care a lot more enjoyable and also easier and convenient for you. For example, get a watering can that holds a lot of water, one that will help you water your collection in a minimal amount of time and is also easy to grip. I just wanted to highlight the fact that investing in your plant collection doesn't always have to mean with the plant. It can be all things related to the collection. I'm also not saying you have to go out and buy the most expensive watering can on the market. Not at all. Just find what works for you, makes sense for your collection, your wallet, all of that stuff. So those are all of my plant styling tips. Again, I'm not an interior designer. I am a very much hobbyist that has slowly picked up tips that make sense for me, and I share them with you. So thank you all so much for listening. Again, a huge thank you to Louisa for sponsoring today's video. I highly recommend them. If you want to check them out, they will be linked down below in my description box. You can use code Planty10 for 10% off your order. I really appreciate you guys. Please like this video, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!